The paradox we're about to explore is called the compression collapse paradox. It begins with a software engineer named Theo. Theo works for a startup that builds advanced compression algorithms, systems designed to take huge amounts of data and shrink it down without losing anything meaningful. Text files, video, DNA sequences, satellite data, you name it. Theo's new algorithm is unlike anything the world has seen. It can compress terabytes into kilobytes, images into code that fits inside a tweet, whole books into a sentence. His investors are thrilled. The world is watching. But then one night, Theo tries something unusual. He asks the algorithm to compress itself. The code, the logic, the very rules by which it compresses. And that's when everything breaks. Instead of outputting a smaller version of itself, the algorithm generates an infinite loop. It begins rewriting its own rules, referencing itself recursively until the system crashes. Theo stares at the error log and realizes something unsettling. You can't compress the thing that does the compressing without losing it. This is where the paradox begins. The compression collapse paradox asks, if you try to represent an entire system inside itself, how do you prevent that system from collapsing under the weight of its own complexity? It touches everything from computer science to consciousness, from art to philosophy. Let's start with code. Every compression algorithm works by finding patterns. It removes repetition. It replaces chunks of data with smaller symbols. But what happens when the thing you're compressing is the tool that finds the patterns? Suddenly, there's no outside, no safe ground. You're folding a map into itself until it becomes unreadable. This problem also appears in mathematics. Gödel's incompleteness. Theorems showed that no system powerful enough to describe arithmetic can also prove all truths about itself. If it tries, it loops endlessly or contradicts itself. In essence, you can't compress truth into a system without leaving something out. The compression collapse paradox also appears in AI. Large language models, like the one generating these words, are trained on the internet, a massive corpus of human thought and behavior. But what happens when these models begin training on themselves, when their outputs become inputs? When future AI learns from past AI instead of from raw human experience? At first, the signal seems clean, efficient, smarter, but then comes the collapse. The model loses grounding. It becomes an echo of an echo, a compression of something that was already compressed. And eventually it starts generating artifacts, glitches, hallucinations, confident answers that are subtly wrong. Because the model no longer reflects the real world, it reflects itself. Theo sees this happening in his own algorithm. He realizes that the pursuit of perfect efficiency comes with a hidden cost: instability. When you compress too far, you lose the richness, you lose the structure, and you lose the reference point that made compression meaningful in the first place. This paradox echoes in language too. Think of someone who tries to summarize every emotion in one emoji, or a relationship explained by one sentence, or a life's work captured by a tweet. The more you compress, the more context you lose, until the message remains, but the meaning is gone. Theo steps away from the terminal. He walks outside, listening to the wind. No compression, no abstraction, just noise, raw and unfiltered. The compression collapse paradox reminds us that not everything valuable can be made smaller, and that sometimes clarity isn't about shrinking the message, but expanding the space around it. So as you lie here now, resting in the gentle presence of uncompressed thoughts, ask yourself, what am I trying to shrink too far? What parts of myself have I tried to encode into something simpler, only to feel like I've disappeared in the process. But if you're still awake, here's something to quietly expand. If you keep simplifying the truth until nothing's left, at what point does compression become erasure? The end.